Okay, so I keep seeing ads for this game and I decided to play it. Lo and behold, I got a little addicted. Hello, I am Hound and today I will be reviewing Tower of Fantasy. This game is both a phone game and a PC game, and from what I've heard, it is cross-platform. As this game is an MMO, it will be judged on the following points. Number 1, gameplay and story. Number 2, customization. Number 3, visuals and graphics. Number 4, the UI interface and or HUD. Number 5, the exploration and how much you have to grind. And finally, number 6, how pay to win is it and how good is the store. Each section will be rated 1 out of 10, 10 being the max, 1 being not even playable. If a section receives a 0 for a score, it will be disqualified. Now, for category 1, gameplay and story, I won't be talking about the story, as a story can only be experienced by an individual and each experience will be different from one to another. My experience may differ from yours. However, one point to note is that most story content can be skipped. However, there are some sections where you have to watch the full scene. An example of this is during one of the side character story quests. One of the characters is having a birthday and you decide to throw a concert for them. You must watch the full concert. For the bits that I had to watch, the story is quite rich and tackles a variety of topics. As for gameplay, it can vary from person to person. The core concept of the gameplay is being able to do anything you want, from racing cars, fighting monsters, to even singing. However, you must progress far enough in the game to gain access to these activities and minigames. After about a week of hardcore grinding, I have only scratched the surface of this game. From what I can tell, most of the side activities such as racing and singing is something for late game content to relax and chill with your friends. In this review, I will mainly focus on monster hunting. From what I have played and seen so far, monster hunting takes up the majority of early game and mid game. You are given a variety of weapons as you play or pay for, more about that later in section 6. When the game starts, you are given a pre-selected character to choose from male or female. This character is then used to complete the tutorial. After completing the tutorial, you can customize your character. At the start of the game, you are given a katana, and after a bit of time, you are prompted to start your first draw. This draw can result in you getting a variety of weapons. Even though every weapon has its own attack pattern, a lot of it feels the same. For example, the bows. Each of them has the same attack pattern, but some of them are just different elements. Speaking of weapons, here is what is in the game so far. Some of these weapons are only in the Chinese servers. The weapons with red X over them are the ones that we currently do not have access to. Now, each weapon has its own unique ability. But these are not the only abilities we have access to. As you play, you unlock relics. These relics, in my opinion, are alternate abilities and or skills. This is a list of what we have so far, and those marked with the red X are currently unavailable. See the image on screen right now? Let's get rid of the items we don't need. Now let's get rid of the items that are not worth it. Now let's focus on items we should rank up. My dog's sleeping in the background again. Now all the items on screen are the ones that we essentially need to complete the entire game. Now the reason we only have this many on screen is because we could only use a total of 6 at one time. However, during a fight we are only limited to 2. These relics are used to unlock puzzles, while these relics help you explore the world. The rest of these relics are there to help you fight. Next, we need to talk about the jetboard and the hoverboard. The jetboard is one of 3 vehicles that I currently know of. The jetboard only works on downhills and is acquired by progressing through the story, while the hoverboard is something you have to grind to get. From what I've seen and read in game, you want to get the hoverboard to 5 stars as soon as possible. Now, the reason I'm talking about stars is because a lot of the content behind each weapon is locked until you unlock those stars. For example, it's either at 1 star or 2 star that the hoverboard has access to having the stamina cost in half, if that makes sense. This way you could use it for twice as long. With the variety of weapons, fighting styles, and relics, you could do something new every day. With the amount of different combinations you could do, I just find it super fun. I rate this section 10 out of 10. Number 2, customization. Customization is without a doubt amazing. You have a wide variety of customization options, from weapons, relics, clothes, character customization, and even purchasable pets for your apartment. There are many aspects you can cover. However, one of the major downsides to this is that the characters you could simulate cannot be customized. There are outfits they can acquire, but it is nowhere near as much as I want in the game. The other major downside is the online store. More about that in the pay to win section. The character customization is pretty decent. You have access to a variety of weapon loadouts you can use, as well as alternate abilities. Then you have abilities and some housing options. I would have to give this section 5 out of 10. Number 3, the visuals. The visuals for this game are exceptionally amazing, except for one weapon, which is the dual guns that I use in this video. They are just seizure-inducing. The visuals mixed with character customization just make everything very immersive. That, combined with the things you could do around town, just make a wonderful experience. However, there are a few problems that I have run into. Number 1 being this box puzzle. This box puzzle is very time-consuming and it's just overall buggy. It's a horrible experience in general. I will also be lowering the score because of the UI and desert. More on the UI later. As for the desert, it just looks like a last-minute map that they decided to add on. Like, some sections of the map just look unfinished, and other sections it has a whole underground cave system with unique monsters and lighting. As for the section that looks like it's not completed, I'm gonna have to talk about the quicksand. You run into it and you just sink. It doesn't give you a warning, it doesn't give you any tutorial hints, it's just you walk there, you die, and it's like, okay, now what? After some testing, at my current level and story progress, only the jetport has access to get across the quicksand. Overall, even with the downsides, I will still give it a 9 out of 10. Number 4, the UI interface and hub. In my personal opinion, it is just bad. Number 1, there are many tabs that just lead to places you don't want to be. Then there are the red dots that signify new content and or items in your inventory that you have acquired. When you go to these tabs that have the red dots, half the time it does not go away. I like to keep my screen clean of any debris, quote unquote. And people like me tend to go to those red dots and clean it up every few seconds, which takes up a lot of time, and if you don't clean it every few seconds, you lose half the rewards. One of my major complaints about the UI and the HUD is that there is no quest tab. And the only way to get to the quest tab is on the right side of the screen. You click the quest, and then you click it again to deselect the quest, and then a hidden tab pops up, and then you click the hidden tab, which then leads you to the quest page, the side quest page, the story, and the tutorial. Now, I've checked many places to see if there's a keybind for this. There is not. In fact, there's not a keybind for half the stuff that is very useful. An example of this is, for some reason, Z on the keyboard is crouch. Why do I have a crouch function if I don't have a quest tab? Now, this is not all negative. The HUD is out of the way for the most part, and it is very useful. There's even a tab you could click which hides away most of the tabs. And even if you hit F1, a lot of key binding stuff that is on screen most of the time disappears as well. One of the things I like the most is on the bottom right of the screen, the weapons menu is very nice and like completely out of the way. Like, the only time I see it's whenever I need to use a skill. Now, with that all being said, I am going to have to rate this section quite low, because more times than not, I've been searching through pages upon pages of different tabs to find what I want. With that in mind, I will give this section a 5 out of 10. Number 5, exploration and grinding. Honestly, I thought I was going to give this section a 0 out of 10. However, I found this to be quite fun and occupied my time. There are multiple maps in this game. Each map can be broken down into smaller sections. That being said, I am one of those people who like 100%ing each of the sections. However, this game has made me stop doing that. For the most part, I 80% each of the sections because, number 1, I don't have access to a section and I can't continue because of story content. Or number 2, the reward for completing a section is not worth it in the slightest. From what I've progressed so far, I can find 7 maps. I have only explored one map 100%, and I am only about 50% done with everything else. Now, the reason why you want to complete certain percentages of each of the maps is because it gives you rewards. And the other reason is because it's a form of farming. So far, the max I have gathered is 20 gold orbs and 80 purple orbs in one section. The main reason I'm doing this is not because of the draw chances, but because of the stamina mushroom. These stamina mushrooms are amazing. They increase your maximum stamina permanently by a certain percent each shroom you have taken. Increased stamina makes the overall gameplay way better. So far, I have 2 maxed out stamina bars. These maxed out stamina bars let me fight twice as long, use the hoverboard for twice as long, fly and glide for twice as long, climb much higher than I was normally doing, and on the occasional chance that I get stuck in water, I have twice as long to figure out how to get out. From what I've seen so far, basically everything is affected by stamina. However, stamina is not the only thing you unlock by grinding and exploring the area. You also unlock clothes and different ingredients to cook. When you cook, you get access to different recipes, and these recipes could buff your stamina, they could buff your strength, they could buff your defense, they could heal you. You have a different variety of things. I've only scratched the surface of cooking. As for grinding, I learned early on that anything that's shiny on the ground, I should pick it up so that I don't have to come back and grab it later. Most of the time, I don't need to grind. Very few times have I actually run into money problems, and when I did, I just went back and defeated some bosses and I was good to go. Now, however, there are a few times that I have run into items that are hard to come by. These are usually upgrade materials for weapons. I do not know if it's because I'm not far enough in the game story or if I'm just missing something entirely. However, with the many different currencies, you could go into one of the 70 shops and usually buy the item that is missing. I'm rating this section 9 out of 10 because there are still areas within level 1 territory that you can't get to unless you unlock further story content. While there's also areas that you can't walk into because it's just poisonous for your character because they're not a high enough level. Finally, we have number 6. How pay to win is the game, and how good is the store? I'm going to be straight with y'all. This section's getting a 3 out of 10. This game is very pay to win and the store is quite bad. There are about like 20 different currencies. There are about 20 different stores for each of the currencies. And only one of the currencies can be interchanged with another currency. Even if you have the money, I would not recommend spending a dime on this game. About every tab I've clicked in this game leads to some store. This store would then redirect me to a different store, which would then prompt me to spend money. Half the stores I have access to and can buy readily made stuff from in-game currency is ingredients that I don't need even remotely close to my level. Then, there are the orbs you could purchase so you could unlock SSR characters. However, you can't purchase the SSR characters themselves. Now, the game wants you to believe that each of the roles for unlocking characters and items are random, but they're not. Me and a friend have got the exact same things all the way up to level 50. Yes, you heard correct. The item rolls are not randomized. The only difference between me and my friend was I am very unlucky. And instead of unlocking the SSR character at the exact same time, I kept getting common roles. After a while, I did get the exact same SSR character though. And lo and behold, right after that, when I unlocked my second SSR character, it was the exact same as my friends. An example of this is when you first unlock your super rare character, you get an electric spear. And when you unlock your first super rare character, it is a flaming scythe. Now, you could pay to unlock each of these weapons faster, but at that point, it's a lot of money. Now, I don't know how many SSR rated weapons you need to unlock before you get the one you want. I'm going to assume it's a lot though. So far, I've only gotten one SSR weapon that has been a duplicate. The only reason one of my weapons is a 3-star SSR is because I completed the beginner quest reward pack, as well as gotten lucky on a boss drop. Now, to acquire an SSR weapon, the chances are very low. The website claims that for golden orbs it is a 0.3% chance, and for purple ores it's even lower at 0.02%. Out of my 300 golden orb rolls, I've only gotten one that was not a guarantee by 80 rolls. And out of my 900 purple orb rolls, I've only gotten 2. Now, as for different tabs in the store, like let's say we want to talk about cosmetics, there's none. The only cosmetics I have seen is for the Christmas event. As Christmas is over, and when I logged in today, I saw a New Year's event, but that is it. As of writing this, the only thing that I've seen of value is the $20 monthly pass, which unlocked a SSR relic, which is the hoverboard. In my personal opinion, everything else in the store is not worth the money. With the scores in, we have a total of 41 out of 60. Overall, I found this game quite fun and addicting even with its flaws. The percentage you will like this game falls under around 59.41%. With it almost being at the 60% mark, I recommend this game. Just don't go into the market. Oh, you're still here? Well then I guess you want to hear what I have to say to the devs. Number 1, chances are this game was made primary for a phone in mind. I have no problem with that, but add some sort of option to, like, character selection to choose between if you're playing on a phone or if you're playing on a PC or Xbox or some other console. This way, you have an option within your coding to add more options for key bindings for PC players. Number 2, this game has no incentive to party up with any of your friends. The open world rewards are quite bad when you're sharing it with a party member, because if he picks up the item first, I can't go up to it and open it myself. I have to go to a different server most of the time. I've even tried to go through a dungeon with one of my buddies and we had to separate. The only time I partied up with someone was when I was doing some event that I had no clue how I got to. And like on World Chat, someone offered to do a world boss. They said I need help with boss X, and like 30 people came running. We never partied up and no one really replied to the message. Number 3, add some sort of penalty for death, like people just run into battle, die, respawn, run back into battle, die. Like, it doesn't want the player to get better, or for that matter, try different strategies. Number 4, if you're going to be a pay-to-win game, at least add more purchasable items. For example, boxes that contain cosmetics, or boxes that have one specific SSR weapon but has a chance to drop just normal SR weapons, or a box that contains 3 guaranteed SSR weapons but they are random. The same thing with relics. My final thoughts on this game is that it's a great concept, it's great to play, it just needs a few tweaks. Really, you're still here? Well, if that's the case, leave a like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell for more content like this. Bye-bye.